Hello everyone, it's Myeokjan. Today I am going to read S3 3037 in the Cave, Felicity Hopkins. Chapter 1. The Picnic. This is the story of two children. They were brother and sister and their names were Catherine and Alex. Catherine was 11 and her brother was 8. It is also the story of some dark caves. It was summer. Catherine and Alex were not at school. They were with their grandfather and grandmother on their farm. The farm was not near the town. It was quiet, and there were lots of trees and grass. The children liked it. Grandfather and grandmother had hens, ducks, and cows. They had a dog too. His name was Biff. Catherine and Alex liked Biff. Biff liked them. It was Monday. It was the first day of the holiday. It was 10 o'clock and the sun was high in the sky. There were no clouds. It was a beautiful day. Come here, Biff, shouted Catherine. Good dog, we're going to the hills. Biff was very happy. Do you want any apples? Said grandmother. She was in the kitchen. Yes, please, said Catherine. Alex, please help grandma. You can put the food in the bag. Outside it was hot. Biff walked in front, smelling the ground. Catherine was the second with the bag. Alex was last. There were trees next to the path. There were lots of red and blue flowers under the tree. They walked for a long time. At 12 o'clock, they were at the bottom of the hills. There was no wind. It was very hot. I want a drink, said Alex. I want some food too. Can we have a picnic? Yes, said Catherine, but it's very hot here. We can't go in there, said Alex, and he pointed to a hole in the side of the hill. It was behind some tall tree. It's a cave, said Catherine. We can eat our picnic there. The children liked the cave. It was clean and light, but it was not hot. There was a sand on the floor. Put the bag here, said Catherine. We can sit on these stones. I like it here, said Alex. I can bring some toys here. You can put them behind these stones. Yes, said Catherine. It is our picnic cave. We can put wood across the front. We can play here. Don't tell grandma or grandpa. Don't tell anyone. For the children, it was a game. They did not know it was the start of an adventure. Chapter 2. Where is Biff? In the afternoon, the children played games in the cave. Look, shouted Alex. There's a hole at the back of the cave. It's full of stones, but there's a small hole at the top. Can I climb up and look? Be careful. Don't fall. Alex climbed to the top and looked into the small hole. I cannot see, he said. It's dark in there. Catherine and Alex went to the cave again the next day. It was Tuesday. We're taking Biff to the hills, they said to their grandmother. This time they put a torch in the back. Catherine climbed a pile of stones and she looked into the small hole at the top. I can see now. It's another cave. I'm shining the torch on the ceiling, but I cannot see the bottom. We can move some stones and make a bigger hole. Then we can see. Can we go in then? Said Alex. I don't know, said Catherine. The children walked for a long time. There were a lot of stones. They were very heavy. Alex and Catherine were careful. But there was a bigger hole. We can go in the cave now, said Catherine. Please hold the torch for me. Catherine climbed over the last stones. She put her foot on the floor of the cave. There was water. She put her hand on the wall. There was water there, too. She climbed into the cave. Be careful, she said. It is wet. Do not fall. Hold my hand. Alex climbed over the stones. Biff was last. He did not like the water and he was not happy. He had his tail between his legs. The children looked at the cave. It was small, smaller than the picnic cave. It was cold too, and very quiet. The hall was behind them. Through the hall was the picnic cave. Outside, there were birds. There was grass. It was a hot day. If there was no sun, it was dark and wet. Is it dangerous? Said Alex. I don't know, said Catherine. I don't like it. Where is Biff? Is he with you, Catherine? No, said Catherine. I don't know where he is. Biff, they shouted. Biff, Biff. He didn't come. They shouted again. Catherine looked through the hole. He was not in the picnic cave. Where was he? They shouted and shouted. Come here, Biff. Good dog. Biff, Biff. Chapter 3. In the dark passage. Look, said Catherine. There, give me the torch, please. In the middle of the wall was another hole. It was the start of a passage, and there was Biff. It's not very high, said Catherine. I can touch the ceiling with my hand. You can go inside. Biff can walk in front. The passage was different from the wet cave. There was not any water on the walls, and the floor was dry. But it was dangerous. The children walked, and their shoulders touched the walls. Their clothes got dirty. Where is it going? Said Alex. Then there was a loud noise. Alex fell down. Catherine dropped the torch, and it was dark. What's that noise? Catherine shouted. She picked up the torch. Alex was on the ground. My ankle, he said. Catherine looked. There was red on his socks. It's not a bad cut, she said, but look. You kicked a pile of small stones, and what is this? In her hand was a bone. It was old and brown. Alex looked. Biff sat down. More stones dropped to the floor. There was another bone. The children did not like it. What are these bones? Said Alex. Is there something bad in this cave? Passage was small and dark. Where did it go? Was it empty? The children listened. There was nothing. In front of them, it was black. Behind them, it was black. They looked into the circle of yellow light from the torch. And they saw something. They saw two eyes, two fires in a dark animal face. Chapter 4. The animal face looked and looked. The eyes did not shut. The children looked too. It's a picture, said Alex. Who painted it? Then there was a noise. It was not loud, but the children heard it. And Biff heard it too. Biff is running away, said Catherine. She shouted, but it was no good. Come back, she shouted again. I can catch him, said Alex. Wait, said Catherine. Do not run. It's dangerous. We're going home now. We can catch Biff outside. Then they heard the noise again. They heard the noise again. This time it was louder. They walked along the passage and into the wet cave. But where was the hole to the picnic cave? Shine the torch, said Alex. There was the water on the floor, and the walls were wet. It was the right cave, but in front of them was a big pile of stone. There was noise. Was these stones falling? What can we do? The stones are very big. There was a small hole at the top, a small window of light. Catherine climbed up. It's no good, she said. I cannot see. Can we shout? Said Alex. Yes, but there is nobody outside. We didn't tell Grandpa or Grandma. They don't know where we are. What can we do then? Said Alex. We cannot stand in this water. Our feet are cold. Don't cry, Alex. Don't cry. Listen, it is Biff. He's outside. He's in the picnic cave. Catherine climbed up again. Biff. Good dog, come here. Biff climbed up on his side. He put his nose through the small hole. His tongue was wet on Catherine's face. Listen, she said. Go to the farm. Tell grandfather. Tell grandmother. Bring them to the cave. Go back to the farm. Biff. The children waited in the passage. It was dry there. They had some bread and 2 apples in the bag, but not blankets or coats. They were cold. They waited and waited. Catherine went back to the wet cave and climbed up on the stone. There was no light through the small hole. It was night. In the morning, Alex was asleep on her shoulder, and they heard grandfather and the man. The story of the chapter 5, story of the cave. The story was in the newspaper. Look, said grandfather. He had a newspaper in his hand. The children looked. It said, children find cave paintings. There were pictures of Catherine and Alex, of grandfather and the man, and of Biff. Lots of people went to the caves. They went along the passage with big torches. There were more paintings. Clever people talked about them and wrote about them. It was on TV too. Dr. Vickers talked about the pictures and the cave. The cave is very old. People were there a long time ago. They painted the animals on the walls. How many pictures are there? There are 42 in the passage. The children were only at the start. It's a very long passage. The children said there was a pile of stones in the passage. Yes, that's right. They were not stone. They were hammers and knives made of stone. People used them for cutting meat or for making clothes. The children say there were animal bones there too. Yes, you can make a knife from a bone. People used animal bones, small bones, for needle. Lunch, shouted grandmother. They sat down at the table. What are you doing this afternoon? Can we have a picnic? Said Catherine. Yes, but don't go into any caves, said grandmother. They all laughed. The end.